The requirements for Leonor's future husband, inside the unwritten rules of Spain's next royal match. One day, the future Queen of Spain will stand on a palace balcony, the weight of centuries resting quietly on her shoulders. Beside her, the world will look, not just at her crown, her posture, or her words, but at the person who chose to stand with her. And that single figure will ignite a question Spain has been asking for generations: who is worthy of walking beside a queen? Princess Leonor de Borbón y Ortiz is not just growing up in public, she is growing up inside history. Every step she takes, every oath she swears, every uniform she wears is carefully designed to prepare her for one role: Queen of Spain. And while the Spanish Constitution is clear about her succession, it says very little about something the public obsesses over endlessly: her future husband. There is no official checklist stamped with a royal seal titled, "Requirements for the Queen's Consort." Yet make no mistake, the expectations are real, powerful, and non-negotiable. They are written not in ink, but in tradition, politics, public opinion, and the hard lessons learned by European monarchies in the modern age. So what are the requirements for Leonor's future husband? Must he be royal, noble, Spanish, Catholic, silent, strong, invisible, or something entirely new? To answer that, we must look beyond fairy tales and into the machinery of monarchy itself, where love is personal but consequences are national. 1. Why Leonor's marriage is not just a love story. For most people, marriage is a private decision. For a future queen, it is a constitutional event. Leonor is not only a young woman who may one day fall in love, she is the heir to the Spanish throne. Her marriage will shape public trust, diplomatic relationships, media narratives, and even the stability of the monarchy itself. Spain is a constitutional monarchy. That means the crown survives only as long as the people accept it. And history shows that nothing tests that acceptance more than royal marriages. The Spanish public still remembers the scandals of King Juan Carlos I, the intense scrutiny surrounding Queen Letitia's background, the exile, controversies, and erosion of royal credibility. Leonor's reign is meant to represent a reset. Clean, disciplined, modern, transparent. Her future husband, therefore, will not be judged as an individual alone, but as a symbol of whether the monarchy has learned from its past. 2. The constitutional and legal requirements. Let's start with the formal rules, the ones that actually exist in law. Does Leonor need permission to marry? Yes. Under the Spanish Constitution, members of the royal family in the line of succession must seek approval from the Cortes Generales, Spanish parliament, to marry. If Leonor were to marry without authorization, she could theoretically lose her right to the throne. This doesn't mean Parliament chooses her husband, but it does mean the marriage must be deemed acceptable to the state. In other words, love may be personal, but approval is political. Can her husband rule Spain? No. Leonor's future husband will not become king in his own right. He would hold the title of Prince Consort, not King of Spain. The sovereignty remains solely with Leonor. This distinction matters enormously. Spain learned from history that giving too much power to royal spouses can create instability. Her husband must be comfortable standing beside power, not holding it. 3. Must he be royal or noble? Here's where modern monarchy steps in. Royal blood, preferred but not required. In centuries past, Leonor would have been expected to marry a foreign prince, a cousin from another European dynasty, someone whose bloodline could be traced back through royal archives. But Europe has changed. Queen Letizia herself shattered expectations by marrying into royalty from a middle-class, professional background. That marriage, controversial at the time, ultimately strengthened the monarchy's image as modern and relatable. So today, Leonor does not need to marry a prince. He does not need a noble title. He does not need royal ancestry. What matters more is who he is, not where he comes from. That said, certain backgrounds are still viewed as safer. Diplomatic families, military backgrounds, academic or professional elites, individuals accustomed to public scrutiny. A completely unknown figure with a chaotic past would face serious resistance. 4. Spanish or foreign? National identity matters. This is one of the most sensitive questions of all. Does Leonor's husband need to be Spanish? Legally, no. Politically and emotionally, that's complicated. Spain is a country with strong regional identities. Republican movements. Lingering tensions around nationalism. A foreign husband could be seen in two very different ways. As a symbol of global modernity. Or as a disconnect from Spanish identity. A Spanish husband might feel more culturally aligned, understand national sensitivities, communicate naturally with the public. However, Spain has accepted foreign-born royals before. What matters is not nationality, but loyalty, respect, and integration. If Leonor's husband is foreign, he must learn Spanish fluently, understand Spanish history deeply, show absolute commitment to Spain. Anything less would fuel criticism instantly. 5. Religion. Silent but significant. Spain is officially a non-confessional state, but Catholic tradition still weaves quietly through its monarchy. Leonor herself was baptized Catholic, like generations before her. Her future husband does not legally need to be Catholic, but religion still carries symbolic weight. A partner who respects Catholic traditions, participates in religious ceremonies, avoids public conflict with Spain's religious culture, would face far less resistance than someone openly hostile to it. Public perception matters. A religious mismatch wouldn't disqualify him, but it would require careful handling. 6. The character test, the unspoken requirements. Now we enter the most important territory, the qualities that matter more than titles, passports, or surnames. Discretion above all else. Leonor's future husband must understand one brutal truth: his life will never fully belong to him again. He cannot sell interviews, write memoirs, leak private conversations, chase personal fame. The monarchy survives on silence. One indiscretion can unravel decades of trust. Emotional strength. Being married to a queen is not glamorous, it is isolating. He will always walk one step behind. Be introduced second. Be criticized without being allowed to respond. Jealousy, insecurity, or ego would be fatal. Leonor's husband must be emotionally secure enough to support a woman whose duty will always come first. 7. Professional independence, but not ambition. One of the hardest balances to strike. Leonor's husband must be accomplished enough to earn respect, but not so ambitious that he overshadows the queen. A successful career before marriage is a strength. A hunger for influence after marriage is not. He will likely be expected to abandon private business interests, avoid political positions, submit finances to scrutiny. This is not a role for someone who craves control. 8. Clean past, clean digital footprint. In the age of the internet, nothing stays hidden. Leonor's future husband will be investigated intensely. Past relationships, financial history, social media posts, friendships, political opinions. A single offensive tweet from adolescence can become a national scandal. This requirement is unforgiving but unavoidable. The monarchy cannot afford surprises. 9. Media discipline and public behavior. Spain's royal family lives under constant observation. Leonor's husband must master neutral facial expressions, controlled body language, diplomatic speech. He cannot argue publicly, show visible frustration, express controversial opinions. Every gesture becomes a headline. 10. Loyalty to Leonor above all. This may be the most human requirement of all. Leonor's life will be shaped by duty, not freedom. Her husband must be someone who protects her privately, supports her publicly, accepts sacrifice without resentment. He must understand that loving a queen means loving an institution, and the burdens that come with it. 11. Lessons from other royal marriages. European monarchies offer powerful lessons. Some marriages strengthened crowns, others nearly destroyed them. Leonor's advisors will study Prince Philip's disciplined adaptation in the UK, Queen Letitia's controlled public reinvention, the damage caused by spouses who sought attention. The message is clear: the right partner stabilizes the monarchy, the wrong one endangers it. 12. What Spain really wants. At its core, Spain wants reassurance. The public does not expect perfection, but it demands responsibility. Leonor's future husband must represent stability over drama, service over celebrity, respect over rebellion. He does not need to be loved instantly. He needs to be trusted. 13. Will love still matter? Yes, more than ever. Forced marriages belong to the past. Leonor will choose her partner, but that choice will exist within boundaries shaped by reality. The modern monarchy understands that a loveless marriage is a fragile one. And a fragile marriage is dangerous for the crown. So love is not optional, it is essential. But it must be a love strong enough to survive pressure, silence, and sacrifice. 14. The future consort is a new kind of royal figure. Leonor's husband will not be a traditional prince, nor a political actor, nor a celebrity. He will be something new. A supportive presence. A stabilizing force. A quiet partner to power. His success will be measured not by visibility, but by absence of controversy. 15. The final requirement. Acceptance of a life chosen together. In the end, the greatest requirement is simple and brutal. Leonor's future husband must accept a life where privacy is rare, freedom is limited, duty never sleeps. He must choose Leonor knowing that she will always belong partly to Spain. And Spain, in return, will watch him closely, judging not how loudly he shines, but how calmly he stands. Conclusion. A crown shared, not worn. Princess Leonor will one day wear Spain's crown alone, but she will never rule alone. The man beside her will not be chosen by destiny or bloodlines, but by character, discipline, and an extraordinary willingness to live in service rather than spotlight. Her future husband does not need to be a prince. He needs to be strong enough to walk beside a queen, and humble enough to let her lead. And when that day comes, Spain will not ask who he is. It will ask one question only. Is he worthy of her trust, and ours?